This is going to be a core series to do with a yoga block or a small Pilates ball or a pillow or whatever you have that you can squeeze between your knees or have between your hands. I'm using a local yoga block today because I like the firmness of it. So maybe whatever you're using, I think is just like a little bit more firm. So if you're using a pillow, a memory foam pillow would be best, or maybe you fold your pillow in half. But we're gonna get started onto our backs, and we're gonna start just with some simple breathing into your diaphragm. So we're gonna be flat onto your back. We're gonna take this block and it's gonna be in between your thighs. And we're gonna bring one hand onto your heart, one hand onto your belly. Now, main thing to start here with is making sure that we have a neutral spine. The best way to know if your spine is neutral is if your hip bones are flat. So that's going to look different for everybody. Your back is either going to be fully flat to the floor. Now, here for me, with my hip bones to be flat, so if I'm balancing a glass of water onto my lower abdomen, it would stay balanced there. That means my lower back is all the way flat. And then some people might have a little lift in their low spine, but wherever you can be, where you're keeping the tops of your hip bones pulled towards your hips, but not tucked all the way back to where your butt's lifted off the ground. We just want that nice flat lower abdomen. From there, we're just going to start with some deep breaths. We'll inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Now, as we do that, you want to inhale, fill up your lungs and your ribs laterally. So we want to feel that expansion. So you'll inhale and exhale, feel them pull together. Now I'm just keeping a little bit of tension here under this yoga block in between my thighs. And the reason I have one hand onto my heart and one onto my belly is I'm trying to make sure that I'm not breathing into my chest only. I'm feeling my lower abdomen expand and soften in as I exhale. Let's do two more like that. Last one. Now we're going to start to add on. So I'm going to lift my legs into tabletop so my feet are hovering. I'm going to move so you can see my lower half just a bit more. So my feet will be hovering and that yoga block is hugged right between my knees. Now, if you feel your lower back here already, pull your knees in a little closer over your belly. And if you don't, the goal is to try and maintain your knees right over your hips. That's where we're going to get the most work. But to start out, let's pull those knees in just a little bit over the belly so that you can really focus on keeping that neutral spine. So let's bring our hands to our sides here, and we're just going to do those same deep breaths. We'll inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And we always want our exhale to be a little bit longer than our inhale. So think about inhale for 4 seconds and exhale for 6 seconds. That way you can really make sure that you're engaging those abdominals and your transverse abdominis as it wraps around your spine and your core as you exhale, getting rid of all of that air. And you'll really feel that as you emphasize that little extra length in the exhale. If you're feeling confident, maybe you lengthen your legs a little bit over those sit bones. And notice here my ribs aren't flaring. My ribs are staying down and in, pulling down towards the top of my hips. Let's do 2 more breaths like this. Last one. Let's take a little break here. We're going to do one more in this lying position. We're going to keep our feet planted down onto the floor this time. We're gonna have that yoga block in between your knees with a nice squeeze, yoga block, pillow, whatever you have. We'll bring your arms down to your sides. And we'll make sure our feet are just about an inch away from the tip of our fingers. So maybe walk them in a little closer so you can touch them, and then walk just a little inch away to make sure your feet are stacked right under your knees and your hips are in line with those knees as well. So we'll inhale to prepare. Exhale, we're gonna tuck our tailbone, raise your hips to the ceiling, squeeze your glutes. Notice here how I'm not flaring my ribs. My ribs are hugged down towards the top of my hips, so I'm ending in a long line through this bridge. We'll slow lower down, lowering your spine one vertebrae at a time into the floor. We'll inhale. Exhale, flatten, tuck the tailbone towards the ceiling, squeeze your glutes to raise. Inhale, slow roll down. Exhale, bridge. Keep the squeeze in on those yoga block or ball or whatever you have. Inhale, roll down. That squeeze in helps you connect with the inner thigh all the way up through the core. And really making sure here that we're using that squeeze of our glutes to help you lift. 5 more like this. 4. 3. 2 more. Last one. And all the way down. Take a nice rest, and I lied. We're going to do one more here on the floor. We're going to brace those feet back up to tabletop now that we've done our bridges and we've given those lower abdominals a little break. We're going to go back to the lower abdominals. Press your arms down into your sides, trying to have knees stacked over hips. If you feel that low spine again, bring it a little further over your belly. We're going to have a strong point in your toes. We'll inhale, lengthen the right leg, keep the squeeze in of the block, ball, or pillow. Exhale, lower. Inhale, left. Exhale, lower. Inhale, right. Exhale, lower. Maybe to challenge yourself, you lengthen a little bit further. Trying to keep that pelvis locked in. The main goal of having that neutral spine, what we want to avoid is that lift up off of the mat or the floor, pushing your hips away from you. We want to keep those hips tucked in that neutral position. Only extending as far as we can with our legs, maintaining that. Everyone's going to be different. Listen to your body. If you feel pain in your low spine, that's your signal to pull in. Letting your breath control the cadence of your movement. We'll do 4 more each side. 3, 2. Last ones. And we'll relax all the way down. Grab that yoga block out. You might be feeling a little tenderness in the low spine. That's normal there once we're starting to rebuild that core. So let's do a nice stretch here. Bring those arms down to your sides, feet further than hip width apart, knees bent. And you're going to drop your knees side to side. Get a nice stretch into that low spine and into your hips. One more each side. And we'll take a break through center. Hug your knees in towards your chest. And we'll rock forward to a seat. So we're going to grab that yoga block and we're going to come onto all fours. And the yoga block is going to be between your knees. Now, again, yoga block, pillow, ball, wherever you have. I'm going to move so you can kind of see that block. We're squeezing that block in between your thighs, just above your knees. Hands are right underneath your shoulders with a little soft bend in your elbow. We don't want to lock them out. We want to keep that little soft bend to protect your joints. We'll have our toes tucked. We're going to start here with just a lift and lower. Now my core is engaged. I'm keeping my ribs pulled in and a long neutral spine. We inhale to prepare. Exhale, lift your knees just an inch above the floor. Inhale, soften. Exhale, lift. Inhale, soften. Exhale, lift. Inhale, soften. Exhale, lift. Inhale, soften. Let's do 5 more like that. 4, 3, 2. Last one. Then we're going to hold there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Perfect. And that's just going to be the beginning of our rebuild, our core series.